Yeah, Ryan doesn't even have to, you know, bother himself with Force of Will. And Legacy, if you're only countering like a random card, you're definitely giving yourself a 2-for-1 in a deck that can't really draw extra cards. So you have to, you know, use your Force of Wills wisely. You can almost never Force of Will twice in a game and still have enough cards to pull it off.
Basically, you're hemming yourself.
Yes. Force of Will on a Hem to Turok is one of the dumbest things, interactions that come up with Legacy. It's like, I'm discarding 2 to counter my opponent's spell. That's going to make me discard 2.
Yeah, I guess the thing with that is at least you get to choose what you're discarding.
And you get to discard your Force of Will that's probably going to be pretty bad after you discard 2.
Yeah. So I don't really mind that play as much because basically you're like, if I'm protecting the other cards in my hand.
It's generally the correct play, but it's generally...
it seems silly.
Yeah, it does seem silly.
You're basically paying 1 life for the opportunity or the ability to make the choice yourself.
Yes. So it looks like we have a mulligan from Elliott. Well, Ryan keeps his hand, keeps his hoodie on.
Yeah. Apparently Elliott was hot because he took off his jacket. Ryan cold putting on his hood. So
we're getting quite late in the evening, and generally once a event hall clears out, the room gets colder because there's not the massive Magic the Gathering players.
Yeah, we'll have to tell Jack Grannon to talk really loud or something because he's sitting over there at that table and opening a bunch of packs. It looks like I think he won a box or something.
Yeah.
He top 8'd states and made top 4, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like he's just sitting over there cracking packs and sorting cards. So we'll just need him to make some noise, so that while we can do commentary and the players can't hear us. So we're pretty far away.
Yeah. So it shouldn't be an issue like it is some of the time.
Right. Or at least maybe not much of an issue. Can we get Ruben Bressler to blast some music over there?
Maybe some Cognum style?
Sure.
Complete with choreography from Ruben Bressler himself.
Yeah, why not? You could just have him dance instead of do text coverage.
Huh.
Alright, so Elliott's going to take a look at his 6. Is it going to be good enough? Looks at the first one, the second one, picking them up one at a time. And thinking about it. Doesn't look like he likes it.
He's giving an ugly face.
Mm-hmm. He's like...
he probably asks, like, hey, should I keep this?
Right.
That's his opponent. I do that a lot. Alright, looks like Elliott's keeping. Right. Ryan leads with probably his best card in the matchup, Basic Island. Can't get stifled, can't get wastelanded.
Powers up Daze.
Yeah, powers up quite a few of Ryan's cards. And here comes Foil Misty Rainforest from Elliott Wolchesky.
I see like Force Goyf. I think I saw a Spell Pierce. Maybe a Delver. Couldn't quite see. Elliott's cracking the fetch, so I imagine we're going to see a Delver here. Gets a Tropical Island.
Spell Pierce, yep. I saw all of the cards that you mentioned. Goyf, Force, Spell Pierce. I see a Ponder.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Chop taps for Ponder. Okay. Ryan, thinking about it, taking a look. Does he want to daze this? Does he? Is it worth letting Elliott potentially unmulligan here? We see Brainstorm, Force.
I believe you're going to
Think it's a shuffle?
shuffle these.
I think it's a shuffle too.
Regardless of the, I mean, he might even need a second land, or red source, more accurately. But even if he has anything, I think this is a easy ship. Yeah.
And it's a shuffle ponder.
Perfect. More shuffling. This is actually Patrick Sullivan's nightmare.
Yeah.
Shuffling twice on turn 1.
I think I had a bad dream like that before.
Yeah,
too. Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah, fetch land, get a blue source ponder, shuffle the ponder. Patrick Sullivan's worst nightmare.
Well, random draw finds Wasteland. Not great, not awful, because it is a second land.
Second land.
He can play a Goyf next turn. He does need a red source, and he has at least one red card in hand. I believe just one.
The Forked Bolt.
The Forked Bolt.
There are no other Forked Bolts in Elliott's deck.
Ryan Phraner now in the tank. I think he's drawn for the turn. Yeah,
he has. There's a Bayou, a Verdant Catacombs. So that's a pretty good one. That can get another basic. So Ryan has not Wasteland immunity, but Wasteland protection.
Yeah, goes ahead and cracks that fetch now when he is not able to be stifled. Elliott does not have the mana open for a stifle. And he may just want to use it anyway, but good play here.
Yeah, against a Rug Delver deck, a lot of Rug's effectiveness is mitigated when you can just develop your mana base and take out all the mana denial elements. It's even bigger if you can get ahead on lands somewhat. Like say you can get up to 4 or 5 lands that don't get wastelanded. A lot of their cards go dead. It's just getting to that point is very, very difficult.
Yeah, you see Ryan passed the turn after fetching, so it seemed like I'm playing around stifle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fetch there, and again playing around Wasteland by searching up a basic forest. So Ryan appears to be playing limited, and Elliott's playing legacy.
Oh, dude, Ryan opened a rare.
No, was it Verdant Catacombs?
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah. Bomb rare.
Rare draft. No big deal. It's a rare draft that you play.
Sure. There's a Wasteland.
You get a
and at this
Super
point,
Baller Wasteland from Elliott into Ryan's draft land box basics.
Exactly. And there's a Tarmogoyf from Elliott.
Ryan, you probably daze this. Would you pay the hardcaster or would you return an island?
I think you tap and return an island unless because he does have a third land there. I mean,
he does. Yeah, it's a Misty Rainforest, which I'm surprised he just go for one of every basic by fetching a swamp with the Verdant Catacombs. But
yeah, interesting choice. You're right. I think you daze it either way.
Yeah, you definitely cast daze.
I think tap an island to return it here. Yeah, okay. Tap an island, return it. I like that. That plays you around opposing dazes and and still lets you cast daze.
It sets you back a land drop, but Ryan has a Scavenger's in his hand, so that's not going to be. I was thinking about Force of Willingness,
and he does. So
I might come to regret that once Ryan untaps and abrupt decays it, but
well, Force of Will removing Spell Pierce appears to have successfully countered the daze.
Yeah,
and
there's nothing I can't counter anymore. And our dreaded Tarmogoyf die.
We've got instant, sorcery, land, and
he's going to every. He's looking for like the 8/8 or something.
I don't know what he's looking for. He passed the 3/4 like 3 or 4 times.
Right. Maybe just wasn't willing to admit that it was only a 3/4.
Maybe he was just kind of counting while he was spinning, kind of playing around with it. Like,
I mean, it is a pretty cool die.
Yeah.
I consider it the greatest invention on the.
Ryan draws days.
Right, he says abrupt decay,
Yeah.
but
Does he have a black source?
yeah, he has a.
Oh, the Bayou.
But it looks like he doesn't want to cast it yet.
Gonna go with a
He's gonna go with holding up.
Scavenging Ooze maybe, or
Maybe.
holding up another days. I mean, at this point, the Goyf's on the table.
Scavenging Ooze. Oh, shocking. We've gotten word that the judges asked the pace of play to accelerate to a snail's pace.
Yeah, instead of a rock's pace, a
Right.
dead rock.
Rocks aren't alive.
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
Tarmogoyf number
more
2.
Tarmogoyfs, more daisies. I think this one you hardcast. Because you're gonna have to play the Bayou pretty soon. Nope, we're sticking
He's
to
gonna do the
it.
same plan. Tap the island, return it, cast days. This time that Goyf goes away, and now Ryan Phraner free to Preacher in the Graveyard, by the way. Elliott now attacking with his 4-power Goyf. Ryan Phraner free to play Bayou and Abrupt Decay on the first Tarmogoyf. And it appears to be the plan. There's the Bayou. And he drew a Brainstorm there. Shuffles the Abrupt Decay to the front of his hand.
This isn't exactly much of the play faster variety, but
Maybe if we talk faster. So Ryan Phraner's gonna he just untapped, played a Bayou, and pass it back. So he's got the Abrupt Decay open, and he drew a Brainstorm, and Elliott untapped, draws. Is that better?
Probably not.
Does that make it seem faster for anybody? I don't.
No.
No. Like Micro Machines from Galoob.
This means it's like, I guess it's kind of fast forwarded, but it could also be like,
Just something's wrong with the audio.
yeah,
There's a Delver of Secrets.
nothing was wrong with the audio.
No, it was just me trying to get the players to play faster by talking faster.
Never works like that.
And
They
in
can't
for
hear us.
4 says Elliott Wolchesky. And in for Abrupt Decay says Ryan. And Elliott decides not to try to counter that.
A wise decision.
Good decision, yeah. I mean, because technically you can cast a Force of Will or something at it.
You can put something on the stack.
You can go ahead and try. You can target it with a counter spell. It just will not be countered.
Is that a Thoughtseize from Ryan?
I believe so, but I didn't get a
That's a
quite
pretty
a good look,
That's
yeah.
a pretty good draw.
Wasteland takes out that Bayou.
This
by the
forest
way.
is really awkward in Ryan's mana development. He has like his Abrupt Decay, these Dazes, this Thoughtseize. So he's not willing to play out yet. He's also got a Creeping Tar Pit. I might have played. I'm actually very curious on why Ryan played the island, unless he wants to cast Reach Through Mists by drawing 3 cards and putting 2 cards back that he's going to draw anyway. Yeah, this is the classic very poor Brainstorm.
Yeah.
There's nothing for 1 green mana that Ryan would want.
He does have a fetch
He does have a
so
fetch land.
he's going to be able to shuffle 1
he-
away, right?
Yes, if he wants to wait on it, he can very easily do so. And he's really not getting any value from this Brainstorm. Brainstorm's the best card in Legacy. Don't cycle it.
Does have a Delver of Secrets in hand, as we can
And
see,
now
or at least
a
a
Spell Curse
checklist.
as well. Yeah. There's no group Relentlesses or Huntmasters
No, so
or
it's-
Civilized Scholars.
No, so I guess it is Delver of Secrets.
It's probably
then.
Delver.
Probably. Looks like.
Elliott's on 1 land only,
Yeah, and here comes
But-
Delver number 2.
playing all the Delvers. You need to sever the Bloodline.
Yeah, I was thinking that Detention Sphere, that'll work.
Okay.
Hey, Maelstrom Pulse is a bug color, right?
Yeah, that's the most realistic one. There's even one.
There's even one in the deck.
There's even
So
one in
technically,
Ryan's deck.
we could see land Maelstrom Pulse here. I mean, it's a possibility. And Misty Rainforest from Elliott. Taps 2. the 2 non-misty rainforest lands, and I believe we're going to see Scavenging Ooze. Not Scalding Tarn. Scalding Tarn does not cost 2 mana.
Yeah. Who's the boss? So Ryan now has to decide if he wants to crack his Misty Rainforest for Thoughtseize, or wants to get a green source so he can use his Scavenging Ooze this turn.
Yeah, I think you need to get a swamp if you can. He can't get a swamp. I mean, he can get a swamp that's susceptible to wasteland. He's gonna go with the green source. Okay, going with a dual land.
Might have gone with Bayou.
Yeah, I think I would have gone with Bayou, right? Because he has no
Thoughtseize now, and then later
still use Scavenging
Ooze to max capacity. Legacy's a great format. Your mana just does it all. Oh, the other thing is Delver Secrets might be coming into play.
That might be what he's planning on here.
But no Delver. And Daze is going to flip both Delvers and put Elliott firmly in the driver's seat, despite Ryan having a bunch of options and a bunch of lands.
All right, Insectile Liberation number 1 coming in. Insectile Liberation number 2 coming in. Ryan Phraner drops a 7. And
yeah, not a huge fan of the Scavenging Ooze play. And Nimble Mongoose, pretty embarrassing against Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah, and it's not even thresholded at the moment, and it just got one
getting
card
farther
further away. Yeah.
Nonetheless, it is a creature, and I think Ryan's really on the ropes. Not
Delver of Secrets for Ryan.
How do you play your Delver Secrets? Do you play them in the sleeve, or do you use a checklist card?
Well, I play with the perfect fits, and so I play with Delvers inside the sleeves, and I pull them out and flip them. So
I don't even play with perfect fits.
No, yeah, I mean I would play them that way too. Actually, when I had Delver in Standard, I don't play with perfect fits.
Okay.
In Legacy, I play with perfect fits.
Sure.
But Standard, I don't. Yeah, I just keep them in the sleeve. I can't. I think the checklists are ugly.
Yes, I have foil Delvers. And they're kind of beat up.
Yeah, because you have to keep flipping them.
Yeah.
That's really I don't like that. I mean, flip cards, it makes sense. They're very intuitive. They flip and everything, but I really don't like
I'm of the opinion that if you had to make something so awkward to make the cards work, then the cards weren't worth making.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Like, sure, the flip cards from Champions of Kamigawa looked ugly as well. But
they were, I feel, better than...
Yes, they were...
Better than these.
Right. Looks like Force will recently cast. And maybe some Spell Pierce.
Yeah, Force and then Spell Pierce.
And I believe the last card in Elliott's hand is a Forked Bolt.
Yes, it is. He has still not found a red source. Delver finally resolves. And
Delver number 1.
Yeah. And
this is a red source. Ryan's up to 9.
Yeah,
even
because
then, I believe Ryan has to flip with a removal spell.
He activated the Scavenging Ooze yet again to remove the Tarmogoyf, and so gained a life, and now goes down to 3.
Any other creatures in their graveyards?
And he's dead to 1 hit from one of those 2 Delvers. His Delver does not flip. And
that does not bode well for Ryan Phraner. Alright, so...
And we're going to game 2.
In the record time of 15 minutes, Elliott Wolchesky takes game 1 of this semifinal match.
Yeah, it's interesting because, Elliott seemed like he was kind of stuck early, stumbling a bit early, but Ryan wasn't really able to capitalize on that. He did have the basic lands, but I think a lot of it hinged on that Daze being Force of Will. You thought it might come back to bite Elliott, but I think the fact that he got in a couple times with the Goyf, then which then finally ate the abrupt decay, but Elliott by that point had found two Delvers, one in play, and then added a second one in, to the board. Ryan wasn't able to really apply much pressure.
Ryan ended the game with a bunch of cards in his hand and a ton of wasted mana.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to like replay the game knowing exactly what's in Ryan's hand. Because Ryan also had two Delvers of his own. He just didn't cast them.
So
let's do some trivia.
It is time for trivia. Yeah. So
you got a sweet question.
I have a question.
It's a sweet question.
I didn't taste it, but it's probably sweet, I guess. So
it is an awesome question.
So if you guys, those of you who don't know, we give away SCG Premium access during the top 8 of all the open events.
And because this is the semifinals, we are giving away 6 months this time.
Yeah.
So Joy's about to ask you a sweet question, and if you tweet your answers to SCG Premium right there,
yeah. You could be a weatherman.
If you thanks. You could be randomly selected if your answer is correct. And if you are the randomly selected answer, we will give you 6 months of free premium.
Yeah. So all you need to do is tweet your answer and include that hashtag. You don't need to tweet at us or anything. As long as you include the hashtag,
don't tweet at me.
We'll see your answer. You can tweet it at
you can
Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber. It would be really awesome to just have a whole bunch of people tweeting at Justin Bieber the answer to this trivia question and including the hashtag SCG Premium.
At Justin Bieber, hashtag SCG Premium.
And then the answer to the question.
Right.
So here's your trivia question. We have 2 players here in the top 8 that made the top 8 of Legacy that also made the top 8.
2 repeats. I am so jealous of them.
Of the Standard portion this weekend. So the Standard Open last night, these 2 players were sitting there playing in the top 8. Here we are tonight, 24 hours later, in the top 8. 2 players playing yet again. So who were those 2 players? I went both of them. This is going to make this a little difficult, all right? Not just one.
This is 6 months of premium.
I know, seriously. If it was 3 months, I'd take one. But we're going to take 2 players, top 8.
So name both players that have top 8'd both Standard and Legacy Opens
this weekend in Providence. So it would be tough for like somebody playing in Grand Prix San Jose to have top 8'd there and here.
That'd be an impressive feat.
I'm just talking Providence, but just to,
yeah. Let's go stick to this venue.
I'll just tell you guys, it's not somebody who top 8'd GP San Jose. That is also apparently top 8'ing here. That's not the answer. Nobody did that.
I
don't really think anybody did that. I mean, I guess you could check, but it seems pretty tough.
Okay. We'll tweet your answers, and we'll get back to our semifinal match here between Elliott Wolchesky and Ryan Phraner. So going to sideboards, Ryan Phraner has one of the best cards in a Delver-ish mirror.
Yeah.
In Sylvan Library.
Sylvan Library, yeah. Very good card to keep him ahead. Kind of like an extra Jace in a strange way.
A 2-mana Jace.
A 2-mana Jace, yeah. It can't be attacked. It can be Abrupt Decay, but Elliott doesn't play Abrupt Decay. It's Ryan that does.
Yeah. We won't be able to pay the 4 life too much.
No.
But just getting the free, the massive improvement in card quality.
Yeah.
Is what makes
Sylvan
Library so good in these really attrition-y type of mirrors.
Yeah, no sign of Sylvan Library in Elliott's deck, by the way.
Yeah. What does Elliott have to offer?
So Elliott, on his on his side, he does have 3 copies of Submerge, likely to come in.
Yeah, one of the best cards against forests and creatures.
Sure, exactly. And we've seen, we know Ryan plays a good chunk of creatures himself. In fact, Ryan plays more creatures. He plays 15 creatures, and to the 12 that Elliott plays. So even more.
You don't
targets.
really want to submerge a Snapcaster Mage, but the other 12 creatures, and
if you're a 2 and it's attacking and you don't have any other answers, submerge on a Snapcaster will work. And so Submerge, Red Elemental Blast, another one, takes out Jace's.
It doesn't actually take out too much.
Yeah, I mean it's not incredible.
If you want to get Brainstorms, you can bring it in.
Yeah, hit some.
If you're willing to Power Blast Brainstorms, you can bring it in. But otherwise, I would leave it on the bench.
Win the counter wars. I mean,
The only counter wars in this deck, there's 4 days, which you're obviously not red blasting. There are 2 spell pierces that every once in a while could save you a mana. And then there's Delver Secrets and Brainstorm and 2 Jaces that I think are coming out for Ryan. A little bit.
So you don't bring in the blast. Okay.
I would not bring in the blast.
I can see the appeal of leaving them on the bench. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, he's got 2 copies of Endilion Click.
Yeah. Again, very, very expensive. Actually, I could see Elliott just bringing in 3 Submerge and 1 of the red Elemental Blasts for his Force of Wills, and that's it. The Elemental Blast isn't unplayable. Force of Will is pretty bad. So.
Seems like a reasonable plan.
And Brian has basically another. Once again, we've seen him on camera a couple times. He has a bunch of 1s and 2s. His deck, I can see him bringing in his Sylvan Library, his Life from the Loam, maybe his 2 Pernicious Deeds, and maybe a Diabolic Edict. Not much to cut from him. Probably Maelstrom Pulse is something I cut, and maybe
a little slow.
Yeah, maybe something like Dark Confidant, maybe even Snapcaster Mage. Not the greatest. You want stuff that's cheap, and definitely the 2 Jaces are coming out for Brian.
Okay.
Against a deck with Stifles and Wastelands.
Yeah, you may never even see 4 mana.
Right. Brian's more likely to have better mana development just because he has so many lands. But as you saw, like, Elliott didn't have many lands last game and still managed to pull it out. He was on, Tropical Island and Wasteland the whole game.
Yeah.
Didn't even drew a red spell. Was a complete mulligan.
Yeah, actually.
Didn't matter.
Down a card. So, Ryan leads with Polluted Delta into Island into Delver of Secrets, and Elliott with a Volcanic Island and no play. So, passes back to Ryan. Ryan looks for a Miracle on top. Does not find a way to flip the Delver. Yeah.
It would have to be a Miracle spell. No, we're not looking for like Vanishment or anything.
Sure, why not? Just a spell. Delver in for 1 for Ryan Phraner. Ryan has at least another basic there he could play, and it looks like a basic forest, and that is what's coming down. So maybe the same exact 2 lands he saw earlier, at least the same 2 arts,
Yeah, given Ryan Phraner's lands in play, I think it's going to be fairly difficult for him to cast Hymn to Turok that are absolutely in his deck.
What do you mean? You can't cast Hymn to Turok with an island and a forest?
Not yet. You need an Urborg.
Or you could have a Bayou and an Underground Sea. That's an island and a forest.
Well, we have some draft deck, land box.
So Nimble Mongoose for Elliott on turn 2. And Ryan untaps his Delver, and it appears to not have flipped yet again. He does find Bob.
So here's the power of the Rug deck. Ryan Phraner blanked 2 of his mana. He had a Sylvan Library, chose not to cast it. He was afraid of Spell Pierce or Daze.
Yep.
So Elliott Wolchesky just basically won 2 mana just by the presence of those cards in his deck. After a while, you can't just hold all your cards playing around spells forever. That's a double or triple Stone Ring, and you can't win the game with spells you don't cast.
That seems like a good quote. You can't win the game with spells you don't cast.
That's important. I believe that Ryan actually ended up last game with a bunch of spells he could cast,
and
but chose not to.
Yeah.
And just died with them all in his hand.
Tarmogoyf.
At some point, you don't want to, walk your best card into Daze all the time, but I think you can walk your Tarmogoyf into a Daze. It sets Elliott back, land drop. This time, I believe the Tarmogoyf is going to be spell snared.
There's a Daze, but it's not going to...
Daze doesn't work unless...
It's not going to work.
The other thing that Elliott's thinking about is he could try and spell snare it. Actually, lightning bolt it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, at this point, a lightning bolt would make it a 2/3.
Wow.
So he's gonna go ahead and daze it.
He might have a stifle to complete the complete the counter spell.
Yeah, just a little nice little blowout there. Like Stone Rain you also. He's at least making Ryan think about it.
I mean, he has to crack it.
Yeah, I mean, just not gonna pay. Just, I mean, and punish you.
Spell.
So stifle. And Tarmogoyf is countered.
More than like, so I'm not happy that his it looks like he has Sylvan Library and 2 Dark Confidants in hand. So he really needs a black source.
Well, he can cast the Sylvan Library without the black source.
We chose not to last turn, however.
Yeah, and this turn.
We chose, yeah, I mean, at least cast something. Last turn he just passed with 2 mana.
Elliott trying to decide whether or not he wants to trade his Mongoose for the Delver.
If I'm Elliott, I think I would.
He just takes it. You would or you wouldn't?
I would.
Yeah.
However, Elliott has a lightning bolt that he can use to dispatch the Delver and maybe ride his Mongoose the entire way. It's not going. I don't believe it's going to get threshold anytime soon. So,
Mongoose getting in for 1. Legacy, the format of 1/1s for 1, attacking for 1.
Elliott resuming his tank-like qualities. Let's see what we flip.
Flips off of a Brainstorm.
Ryan, you play a checklist card. Why would you put your Delver in a sleeve?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna put the Delver in a sleeve, put it in your deck.
Right.
I mean, I guess if your sleeves aren't opaque, but I think those are.
I cannot see through Ryan's sleeves.
Oh. Well, Insectile Liberation into the red zone. Elliott with the opportunity to deal with it here, trying to decide whether or not that's what he wants to be doing with his bolt. I'm not sure what else you'd rather do. You know.
All right. Looks like he takes it.
Yeah. Okay. So he's gonna take
Ryan's back at the prowl, ready to cast a spell.
Maybe just wanted to burn the face.
I doubt that.
Sylvan Library now from Ryan, and there it is. There's Sylvan Library Resolve.
Looks like, See, Elliott's gonna think about it. Shocking. Alright, so
something happened.
A very hidden spell snare.
Yeah, there's the spell snare. Sylvan Library to the yard.
Sylvan Library. And man, would a Tarmogoyf be slightly larger. Lightning Bolt, your Insectile Aberration. That's 4 cards to special, so we're still a little bit shy. But nonetheless, the Nimble Mongoose still deals 1 all the time.
Yep.
And
unless Jace Architect of Thought is has +1 on the other side.
Right. So there are a variety of cards that would reduce the power.
So Wasteland from Elliott passed back to Ryan. Ryan is currently in the midst of brainstorming.
So you drew a Bayou, a Delver of Secrets, and looks like a Scavenger Goose.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see.
It looks like Dark Confidants are going to go back on top, at least for now. But put Dark Confidants back on top, you can't flip your Delvers, so you may just play a Dark Confidant. He'll have to keep in mind that once he plays a black mana source, he only gets 1 block spell out of it before Elliott's onboard Wasteland comes in,
deals with it, yeah.
Ruins Ryan's fun. So Ryan, you better make this block spell count. I like the 2 cards that Ryan's thinking about, and here comes the Bayou and the Dark Confidant. And some more tanking.
Yeah. Elliott says, I'll use Force of Will, removing a blue card that we can't see.
Probably a blue card. I hope it's a blue card.
Yeah, hopefully. Doesn't really work otherwise.
So that's 5 cards for Elliott in his graveyard. The Wasteland is 6. So if that's not a revised duel, which it is.
Stifle was the card that was pitched to Force of Will.
Yeah.
And Elliott swings for 1, passes back to Ryan. Ryan draws a Spell Pierce, I believe.
It looks like there's a Scavenging Ooze in
I think
Ryan's
so too,
hand.
yeah. Elliott can't have all the counter spells, can he?
He has 2 revised dual lands in his hand.
Yeah.
So he's in trouble.
I just if Ryan plays spells.
Here comes Scavenging Ooze. Also a Brainstorm in Ryan's hand. Forgot about.
So Ooze came down. Suddenly that was the quickest turn ever. Elliott just untaps. Jaws says go. Ryan untaps. I'm gonna Brainstorm here. Resolves. And we find Wasteland. We find, I believe, Wasteland
Underground Sea?
Well, it's definitely Underground Sea. Was it double Wasteland Underground Sea? Or Diabolic Edict? Diabolic Edict.
That looks like a Diabolic Edict. So a pretty good Brainstorm for Ryan. He can play the Underground Sea, play the Delver, put a spell back on top, and even grow Scavenging Ooze. Take Elliott a little bit farther away from Threshold. Alternatively, he could play a Wasteland and give Elliott Threshold. And pass the turn.
Yeah, you've got a 2/2 and you just gave your opponent a 3/3. Probably don't want to attack.
Unlikely.
Passes back. When you play at that speed, sometimes you make quick decisions.
Too fast or too slow?
I think it may be overthinking it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I mean, seriously, when you sometimes you start to sit there and think, and you're trying to figure out, what the best play is, and you're thinking, and you kind of go around in such a circle that you completely forget something that you at some point established, and then you just make the wrong play, and you're like, oh, I went to keep him off Threshold with my Scavenging Ooze, but instead I gave him Threshold and could not attack with my Scavenging Ooze because now his guy's 3/3.
I could not agree more.
I think Ruben was clean shaven when this match started.
Spoiler alert, that's Ruben behind.
There's Ruben.
So we have a Daze, a Submerge, and a Stifle, an actual decision to be made.
Yeah, this is Elliott Wolchesky is pondering now.
Yeah.
With the card ponder.
Yes. All the pondering. He ponders without the card ponder, but this time it's with the card ponder.
Yeah.
This is actually a really tough one because the Stifle is pretty bad. The Daze is not good, but the Submerge is fantastic.
And does he? What do we have? What do we know is in it? Just land? You think?
I believe it's just a land. It's actually an unknown card, but I believe it is to be just land. He's keeping him.
He's gonna go ahead and keep the Submerge, and I don't really dislike that, but
yeah, I think it's fine to keep. Maybe you can get a use out of this Daze Stifle combination by stifling a land and then like submerging the Scavenging Ooze to make it a and maybe Ryan doesn't have another land. All right, so Ryan's
gonna grow his Ooze to a 3/3 here, gain a life, and but take 3 from the now thresholded Nimble Mongoose. Underground Sea from Ryan Phraner.
So we got a Diabolic Edict coming most likely.
Yeah, we do know that was available to Ryan.
Or not.
We're not. Sometimes you just want to flip your lands. Like maybe he's a DJ and just kind of wanted to spin the It lands a
comes
little.
3 points from Scavengers. And a Delver, I believe that's going to get dazed.
Like
That was the card Elliott capped first. Nope, just kidding.
Wiki Diabolic Edict. That was.
Alright, so another record turn by Elliott Wolchesky.
Yeah, I guess if you have no play, it's nice to just pass the turn rather than sit and tank and then pass the turn. And really, there's nothing you can do.
So here comes either Dark Confidant or Tarmogoyf, I believe, are the last 2 cards in in Ryan's hand.
Yeah, I think so too.
And just play the ones that gets him dead.
He's gonna remove the Mongoose using the ooze. And I believe that was during combat. So did that just smash Elliott for 5?
And here comes a Dark Confidant.
Oh, I see. It was you had adjusted life totals early? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. That's sorry about that. So he did get hit down to 6 there, off of a 4/4 ooze and a 1/1 Delver, of course. And Ryan Phraner looks to be in position to take this to game 3.
Do we have any updates from our other match? Are they still in game 1?
Elliott now using that submerge that we knew he kept on top with that ponder, and Scavenging Ooze is going the way of the library. Going to the library, going to read a book.
Mm-hmm. And very unlikely that Ryan Phraner will flip his Delver on the next turn.
I have a feeling that
I believe we have a 5/6. Man, I'm smart. There's always 4, like late in our Delver mirror.
Mm-hmm.
There's always land, creature, instant sorcery.
Yeah.
And so you look for additional types.
And you have Sylvan Library.
The Sylvan Library enchantment makes it a 5/6.
Yeah. And so Ryan Phraner does indeed take this to a game 3 here in the semifinals of the StarCityGames.com Legacy Open in Providence, Rhode Island. If you're just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco, joined by Adam Prosak in the booth, and we're winding down for the weekend.
We are.
We have one more game in this match, and then we go to the finals, and we'll see if Ryan Phraner's Abrupt Decays can help him get to the finals. Abrupt Decay, the pretty much it's the main Return to Ravnica card, the most popular Return to Ravnica card on camera today.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, for sure, and in the tournament.
Yeah, very likely in the tournament. We did see a Detention Sphere in I think Dave Shields.
Yeah.
Dave Shields' Miracle deck. I think he may have had Supreme Verdict in there as well.
He had I'll copy.
Yeah, I think it was in the list. We never saw it on camera.
So speaking of counterbalance, I have bad news for you.
Uh-oh. Abrupt Decay hits counterbalance and can't be countered?
Well, that's partially bad news.
Don't tell me that.
The Azorius Guild has failed to defend their home turf.
Wow, yeah. SCGPROV not living up to its name.
Yeah, Prov, the Order of Spires. Not holding their own.
Apparently the other match is still in game 1. That is the Goblins versus 12 post match. Jim Davis versus Bugs Bunny. I mean, what's his name? Rudolph?
Jeremiah Rudolph.
Jeremiah Rudolph, who has a
bombs in a carrot.
Has an affinity for carrots, and that's why I called him Bugs Bunny. What's up, Doc?
So looking over sideboarding, I don't think either player is making changes. Well, Elliott might be just looking at him. He's bringing in a card.
Making a quick change, yeah.
He'll be on the play in our
final game here.
Final game of this match.
Got a lot of answers to our trivia question. Which 2 players top-8'd both the Standard Open and the Legacy Open this weekend? If you haven't tweeted your answer, be sure to tweet it. Include the hashtag SCGPremium, and we'll see it, and a random correct answer will.
Somebody wants to know what basic lands Ryan is using.
One I believe is either Scars of Mirrodin. I think one's Scars of Mirrodin, or it could be original Mirrodin. I think that was the that was the island. I don't know about the forest.
Yeah. The correct answer is whatever basic lands you can find in the land station.
Could be.
That's. You don't pick those lands. You don't be like, I want this land and this land.
Yeah, I don't think they're too bad.
They're not bad. I'm saying it's like you're not. There's lots of basic lands to choose from. You wouldn't choose from like a regular land from 2 different sets from various times in the history of Magic.
You're saying that if he wanted to go with, like, the Mirrodin block themed lands, he would have a Mirrodin themed forest and a Mirrodin themed island? I see. And I don't think that forest was Mirrodin themed. It didn't look as Mirrodin themed as the island did.
Yeah, I believe you're right on the island being a Mirrodin block island. Or Mirrodin Island, because they didn't make lands in 5th Dawn or Darksteel.
That's accurate. So it's Mirrodin, or it could be Scars of Mirrodin.
Yes.
It could be Scars of Mirrodin and
Besieged.
Yeah, well, or were there new lands in New Phyrexia? I think.
Yeah.
I think there were.
There's all the modern sets have a basic land in packs, which is awesome.
Well, no, what I mean is, did they make new lands for New Phyrexia? I don't.
I'm not sure.
I can't remember for some reason.
I'm no art expert. I just know that you need to be consistent in your.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking of? It's not.
Selection.
They didn't. They made new land. They made new lands in Innistrad, and then when Avacyn Restored came out, that had new basics, which were
like
the old.
Different.
Yeah, it was the same shot, and the lands had.
We got a tropical island and a Delver Secrets from Elliott.
The lands had been restored in Avacyn Restored, so Rug Delver on the play has a Delver.
Underground Sea and
Dueling Delvers.
Delver Secrets.
Days from Elliott. Deals with Ryan's Delver.
It's foil Delver, does not flip.
No. And back
Plays
goes the Trop.
Good old Trop. And
Delver number 2.
I feel like we've played this game before. Ryan he's got a Sylvan library, he's got a Polluted Delta. And wonder what land this is going to get. I can't quite. I know there is a Maelstrom Pulse in Ryan's hand. Looks like
Ryan has Goyf, Sylvan Library. I want to say he's got a Daze, but I can't quite tell.
I think if he has a Daze, he wants to hit his 3rd land drop, if possible.
Finds a Bayou.
I do like Ryan's play. Once you have a wastelandable mana source,
just keep getting them all.
Keep getting them all.
Yeah.
Because if you get like 1 dual land and 1 basic, they'll just wasteland your dual, and your basic doesn't make all the colors.
Yeah, basically, you're gonna make them draw more than 1 wasteland to.
And even then,
really
if you can. Ryan has his own lands as well, so it's not even that multiple wastelands will cripple him. It's just that he can just outpace the wastelands.
So 3/4 Tarmogoyf resolves for Ryan Phraner, and a Stifle on top of Elliott's library will flip both Delvers, and Ryan's going to go down to 12 here on the hit from these Insectile Aberrations.
If Elliott has a Spell Pierce or Daze or Force of Will or something of that variety for Ryan's Maelstrom Pulse, I believe this game can be over very quickly.
Yeah, well, 3 swings. The clock is 3 turns now for Elliott, and he's there's one of them right now. Swing number 1 gonna knock Ryan to 12. All right, Ryan's on a 2-turn clock here.
I know that Ryan has a Wasteland in his hand, so that can provide the 3rd mana for Maelstrom Pulse. It's just a matter of whether or not that's a spell pierce.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah, it's a
Spell Pierce, Stifle, Ponder, and is it?
Stifle, Ponder, Mongoose, Spell
And
Pierce.
Mongoose was the other
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I saw it and then already immediately forgot what it was.
I hate when that happens. So Ryan deciding what he can and cannot play around. I don't think Ryan will have the opportunity to play around anything this game.
He's got
there's
an abrupt decay.
So
Okay.
that might be something where he can basically hedge against a counter spell, because abrupt decay can't be countered. It'll cut his clock in half, but it won't. He won't get to deal with both the Delvers in one swing.
Right. So it's basically how greedy do you want to be, and how
greedy
how
can
many
you afford to
counter
be?
how many counter spells do you put your opponent on?
Mm-hmm.
Because Maelstrom Pulse is the
It's countered by
obviously
all of them.
Yeah. So here comes Tarmogoyf for 3.
3, maybe 4 once abrupt decay. Nope, that won't increase it. So
Nope. Well,
There's
abrupt
already
decay. Is there already a creature?
there's already the Delver of Secrets in Ryan's graveyard.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the checklist and not seeing creature.
Yeah. It's not always a creature.
It's seeing ugly checklist.
It's a who, why, where, when, there,
Yeah.
how, when, because.
So passes back to Elliott. Elliott with 2 flipped Delvers and has Ryan on a 2-turn clock as it stands right now. So here comes Elliott in for 6, and one of those is getting abruptly decayed. So smash that bug real quick, and Ryan now on a 4-turn clock instead of a 2-turn clock. So he's
I
going
like
to drop the
Elliott's
9.
play last turn of not playing his Ponder,
Mm-hmm.
but I think, or his Mongoose, and leaving up both Stifle and Spell Pierce. But I actually think for this turn, he should play at least one of them, if not both.
Well, he's
Probably
thinking about it.
Just one of them, leave up one land for either or. Because Stifle's not the greatest card in the world anymore.
Yeah, I think you, I guess, play a Ponder here, because Goose is kind of embarrassing at this point. I mean, it's
Goose
not
is
anywhere
not
near
close to
threshold.
threshold.
So at this point, like, why even play
develop
it?
your. The other thing is, if Elliott draws a land off, sees a land off his Ponder, he can just keep the whole all the cards, more than likely. If he sees like 1 land, 2 spells, that's ideal, because he can play his 3rd land, play Nimble Mongoose, have a mana open, and then still have access to
Yeah, there's the Ponder.
2 spells on top of his deck.
Yeah,
So
I don't.
hopefully for Elliott, it's 1 land, 2 spells.
He
It is 1 land, 2 spells, so they're quite excellent.
he's gonna keep and draws probably the land, and there it is, Scalding
He has a
Tarn.
Brainstorm on top of his deck, which is a fantastic spell right here. He's going to keep open. He's not going to play his Mongoose.
Yeah, that's
this
fine.
time.
Keeps open that Spell Pierce.
Yeah, no
and,
problem. Yeah.
Goyf, a little bigger there from the Sorcery Speed Ponder. So we've got creature, instant sorcery, and land. Wasteland for Ryan Phraner, I believe, about to hit the board. Yes, there it is.
Did it not go to 5? It's 4/5 now.
Yeah. It ticked up to 4/5.
Oh, this is not.
There's the
gonna end
Maelstrom
well.
Pulse, and
It's about to meet a Spell Pierce.
there's the Spell Pierce for the Maelstrom Pulse.
Wonder what. Okay, so Ryan has a Brainstorm in his hand. The reason why he did not.
He's gonna brainstorm.
There's nothing he can possibly draw. I do not like this Brainstorm. Okay. I just poor brainstorming right here by Brian Phraner. Ooh, there's a deed. It's a good one, but he's gonna have to draw. He's got a couple bad ones, I think. I believe there's Snapcaster. That's not great.
I saw Snapcaster deed. I didn't see what else.
There's still the Sylvan Library.
So apparently, game 1 in the other match, after 50 minutes, has completed. That's not the other match has not completed. Game 1 is completed.
Game 1
match
is completed.
And that was.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say there should have been some slow play warnings or penalties issued. 50 minutes. Even in a Pro Tour match, I think that's out of control. I remember it was a best of 5, but in the top 8 of the Indianapolis Invitational, I had to walk away from multiple times the Lauren Nolan versus Max Tietz quarterfinals matchup that lasted well over 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. It was. I mean, all the other matches were done and they were still in game 2. It was brutal. And I was like really cheering for Lauren. Lauren's a good friend of mine, but I literally could not watch him play.
So a brainstorm from Elliott.
Yeah, this is an excellent brainstorm for. He has the Scalding Tarn ready to go, and he actually has 2 stifles, I believe, that aren't that
he
impressive.
doesn't really want. Yeah, you can shuffle them away.
So just a max ancestral recall. One of Elliott's casting Ancestrals, Ryan's casting Reach Through Mist. At least, if Elliott decides he has something worse than Stifle, then we can do that and that. The crack of the Scalding Tarn will give Elliott Threshold.
Yeah, so now seems like a good time to cast Nimble Mongoose,
which
is exactly what he does. Is this life total correct? Because didn't the Delver just hit him down to 6?
I believe Ryan's at 6.
Yeah.
And so without a spell, without this crippling Pernicious Deed that Ryan's about to cast. Oh, so he kept a Stifle. Elliott's hand is now Stifle, Force of Will, Spell Snare.
Wow, so Elliott is completely set up against the Pernicious Deed. Even if he lets it resolve, he can just stifle the activation.
Right, and he kept the Stifle in hand to basically pitch the Force of Will probably. Right. I'm not sure. He might have drawn a 4th land, which is completely irrelevant.
Do you feel like he wants to correct the fetch anyway, right?
Yeah.
You let Ryan cast and resolve the deed, and then you just use 1 card to deal with the deed. You just stifle the activation rather than using 2 cards to counter it on the way down.
The only problem with that is, and this is actually like a sick play if Ryan sees it, you can wasteland the Scalding Tarn.
Okay.
And then in response to Elliott cracking it, activate the deed. So it's actually a very risky play.
I see. Yeah.
If Ryan does not tap his wasteland to cast it.
Right. That would be some sick play, I think.
Right. Just every once in a while, you can get the wasteland as Rishid Import on a fetch land. Just deprive him from mana for just a split second, basically.
No, let's see what we're doing here. Well, he does not tap the wasteland. Plays deed. Now Elliott needs to decide whether he sees it, and if he does see it, does he think Ryan sees it?
Right. He also can't fetch a land in response, because then otherwise Ryan just wastes the dual land that Elliott gets. Elliott only has access to 1 mana. So this is actually a huge play in this game. I'm actually really interested to see who.
So you're basically saying at this point, with the deed on the stack, Elliott can't fetch, because if Elliott fetches, Ryan wastes it, and Elliott's going to float a mana, right? And then still has to force the deed, because if the deed lands, Ryan just moves a phase, moves to a different, declares combat or something, and now Elliott loses his his floating
Okay,
mana. So
so
Elliott makes the safe play by going and using Force of Will on the Pernicious Deed. So
good for Elliott. I mean, that was absolutely the right play.
and nothing Ryan can do about it because his hand is Snapcaster Mage, Sylvan Library.
I actually think Ryan tapped pretty poorly for that. He can't cast his Sylvan Library because he's actually like stable. He's going to be stable at 2, so not a ton. But he can block the Nimble Mongoose with his Tarmogoyf, and he can Snapcaster the Abrupt Decay for the Delver. Yeah, that's actually a pretty sizable mistake, not having a Sylvan Library for basically free.
Yep. So Ryan passes back without attacking, keeping the, obviously he needs to do that, keeping the Tarmogoyf back
If it was
to block.
if it was a 6-power Tarmogoyf, he could attack and Ashcoat Bear the
Mongoose.
yeah, the Snapcaster Mage in Ryan's hand to block the Mongoose, and hope Elliott has actual nothing, which so far so good. As it turns out, Elliott Stifle is going to be really good on, like, it's really bad to use it on a Snapcaster Mage, but it's actually going to likely win him this game.
Yeah.
Pitching the Spell Snare and keeping the Stifle. Although Spell Snare would have
also
countered,
worked, yeah. So Elliott cracks his Scalding Tarn at the end of Ryan's turn, gets a fresh set of cards on top after a Brainstorm from last turn. And now he's going to go ahead and swing in the air, knocking Ryan to 2 life. And inching ever closer
This is a wasteland
to the finals for Elliott Wolchesky.
Is there any reason to play and use this wasteland? I can't see any, but I've been wrong before. Creeping Tar Pit's as good as any. But I believe Ryan needs to draw a very good card.
Draws Brainstorm?
I believe that was a very good card.
Brainstorm? Was
Abrupt
that what it
Decay.
looked like? Oh no, he drew Abrupt Decay. Okay, sorry. Couldn't see it.
That's really good.
Yep.
I would actually, if I was Ryan, I would cast the Snapcaster Mage as well. Might even consider attacking with the Tarmogoyf.
Just to get the
Dead to a Lightning Bolt. Dead to a Submerge, as it exists. Yeah, here comes Snapcaster Mage. The ability is going to get stifled, but the so this is actually the scenario where
there's the Stifle.
Spell Snare would have been much better.
Yeah. So Snapcaster's ability getting stifled.
Yep.
Ryan Phraner now going to cast the Abrupt Decay from his hand to deal with that Delver.
Yeah, if I was Ryan, I would 100% attack with this Tarmogoyf. Just
pre Abrupt Decay.
It doesn't matter if you do which one you do which. You're gonna have to cast the Abrupt Decay, and there's no way Elliott's trumping here.
Elliott seems to have gone to the life total, so
Looks
gone
like,
down to 5.
5, one Tarmogoyf hit away.
Nothing in Elliott's hand? Does that look right to you? Used his Wasteland on the Creeping Tar Pit. And
good use of the Wasteland.
Sure, yeah. And Elliott, we don't see what he drew, but here comes an Insectile Aberration and a Nimble Mongoose thresholded.
That means there's got to be a creature.
And Snapcaster getting in front of the Mongoose. Abrupt Decay going to deal with the Delver. And we've got a Bolt You.
Wow.
Wow, yeah. Elliott Wolchesky top decks the Lightning Bolt for the win.
No emotion. Just stone-faced. Yeah, I knew it was there.
Well, it's in his deck, and he didn't really see one that game, I don't think. I mean, he's
Yeah,
got
he
how
might
many
have drawn
copies
one
are
of-
in
he
his
has
deck?
4.
He's got 4, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't see a lot
But
of
usually
bolts that match.
that's a really exciting draw.
Yeah.
I would be pumped.
The complete antithesis to Craig Jones' Lightning Helix.
Yes.
Right? It's like lightning bolt.
That's lightning bolt.
He like drew it, put it down, attacked. Like
Yeah.
I
completely
guess I'll cast this card
Yeah.
at you. I guess.
At you?
Target you.
Target you. Why
Yeah,
not?
think about it. Why not? You're 2. Yeah, I'll target you. 3 damage.